What's up, guys? It's been a while since I took a video, but I'm back taking a video today. Once again, today I think I'm just going to talk about anything and everything regarding learning, chasing your goals, whatever it is. Yeah, I've kind of fallen off on making the videos a little bit. Maybe like a month ago or so, I wasn't making the videos because, again, I was in like a little bit of a rut, so I didn't make videos. But recently, I've just been so busy that I really just haven't wanted to sit down and take videos. Although, of course, I want to keep this channel going and keep making videos. But one thing I'll talk about today is like, this just came to me, is like prioritizing what it is you want to improve at, right? So right now I'm really prioritizing job searching and improving my Japanese. So all the other things have taken a small step back in level of priority, including this channel. Back when I had a little more time and I wasn't prioritizing the Japanese and the job search as much, I was making more videos. So, if you want to learn something, just know it's going to take a lot of focused, concentrated effort on that thing. And yeah, it's always going to come with a trade-off. You're probably not going to be able to learn something else to the same degree, right? You really need to focus on one or two things at a time. And right now, my biggest focus is just on Japanese, really, and finding a new job. But yeah, recently I've just been thinking a lot about how if you want to improve, you really have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? You really have to put yourself out there in a situation where things could theoretically go poorly. Of course, that doesn't mean they're going to go poorly, but where there's a little bit of tension where you're like, can I do this or can I not do this, right? I need to push myself past where I currently am. And it feels very uncomfortable to be in that zone. Okay, it feels quite uneasy at times, and you feel just a little bit stressed. But the thing is, every time you push yourself outside of your current boundaries, every time you actually go and do something that's difficult, right? Something that other people aren't willing to go and do, the reward is almost always greater than the risk. Like, not just the reward in what you gain, whether it be monetarily or, you know what I mean? Like what you gain personally from doing it, but just even the feeling after you've finished, even the feeling after you're done, you're like, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. So many people are afraid to go do that. So many people aren't willing to put themselves out there in that situation where they're exposed and vulnerable, but I was willing to do it. Okay, and it's doing that over and over and over and over again that really is just going to build you up as a person. Now, these events that happen, right, where you really push yourself out of your comfort zone, it doesn't have to be every single hour of every single day, right? Most of your learning is going to be in a very, relatively comfortable environment, something you're used to every day, where you don't have any real stress on you, right? You shouldn't be putting stress on yourself 100% of the time, because really we do a lot of learning in a stress-free zone. But occasionally challenging yourself, occasionally pushing yourself, for example, doing like a competition in jiu-jitsu, or maybe having a fight if you're doing boxing, or doing a recital for piano, right? Or, if you're learning a language too, just challenging yourself to go and speak to a native. Like for me, my challenge recently has been taking interviews completely in Japanese. And I feel like that's been a huge step for me that I felt very uncomfortable about at first. But after doing a couple now and talking to a decent number of people in Japanese, like I've started to gain a little more confidence in myself and my Japanese ability. So sometimes you really need to put yourself out there, put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, because those are the situations where growth can really occur. But once again, you have to back those situations up, those times where you kind of display your skill, you have to back those up with a lot of work behind the scenes, right? So if you just go and you never train jiu-jitsu and you just randomly enter a tournament, that's really not going to be so helpful to you, right? But if you're training jiu-jitsu, you have a schedule, you see yourself improving, then you go do a tournament to test where you are, and then you come back and tweak things and improve things, okay? You get used to performing under the pressure. All of a sudden, the pressure, just doesn't seem as great, even when you're in the training room, even when you're by yourself. And yeah, it's just going to bleed into other areas of your life the more you push yourself. But again, you need both sides of the coin. Pushing yourself to do, something a little bit unreachable, something a little bit crazy. And also the solid training day in, day out. It's really a combination of both of those things that is going to propel you forward. Yeah, I'm just going to keep rambling about whatever. That's really all I have, I guess, about learning. Another thing I was thinking, like, with a lot of these jobs, they've been giving me aptitude tests where it's like, what would you do in this situation? And it's so interesting because I really feel like I'm the kind of person where I need like a lot of information to tell you what I would do in a situation, because everything is just so nuanced. And sometimes I get comments and things on this channel too where they're like, watch one of my YouTube shorts or something, and they're like, well, I don't agree with that because of this. And I always just view it as like, it's kind of just usually relatively shallow thinking that caused that. Now, obviously, I'm not 100% right on everything I say, but yeah, in a YouTube short, you can only add so much nuance into what you want to say. So I guess it's not shallow thinking on the other person's part. Of course, I disagreed with what they said, and I often disagree with what people say in the comments, but I try to, discuss it with them in a logical manner. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people, they just aren't willing to really dig into the nuance behind things, aren't really willing to dig and figure out why things are the way they are and how they can positively, change those things or use those things in their advantage. And, if you can do that, you're going to learn skills much faster. You're going to, be able to improve at anything you want much faster. You're going to be able to just do things that other people can't. And yeah, I think that's really just important, being able to see the nuance behind things, being interested in just peeling back the layers behind things in your life. Yeah, and it's really difficult and uncomfortable because a lot of times you have to face uncomfortable truths. You have to face the fact that what you were doing wasn't necessarily good in the past, and come to terms with the fact that you're in the moment now and you have to just move forward, and that's all you can do. And the past is what brought you to where you were today. But yeah, just continuing to improve is the main thing, guys. Like, pushing yourself, keep on going forward. Don't go forward wildly and with like no direction whatsoever, but you also need like a little bit of just, nobody knows what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of, you can't be too calculating all the time. Sometimes you just need to freaking go in and try your best, or just pick a direction and run with it until you figure out that's not what you want or that is what you want. But just continually chipping away, continually pushing forward. And it takes time for the rewards to come. It really takes time for you to really feel like you're improving. I look at some of the things recently I've tried to improve, and like, yeah, it was a grind. It was a long grind. I'm still on the grind, but like, finally, I put in, a lot of effort and a lot of revision and a lot of just consuming content and input about these specific things that I'm learning. And yeah, finally, I feel like I'm just finally getting the results, finally getting like the rewards I wanted, right? And it's a pretty good feeling because, like, I guess it's just proof that what I'm doing is working. So I want to continue to try to maybe provide that to you guys too, and give you ways that you can continue to push forward. Anyways, guys, I think that's enough for this video. I just wanted to get a video out, honestly. It's not a high quality video or anything, but I haven't posted in a bit. So yeah, this is the video for today. If you have any questions at all about anything, particularly learning, but you know what, I'll answer a question about anything. Yeah, just leave it in the comments. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and please check out some of my other videos. Have a great day. Thank you.